Well, it's looking very good for the bulls on the S&P 500 here. Now we do have a bearish count, and we also have a count that can take us lower in here as well. But I think we can eliminate that particular count now. The idea with Elliott is to put all the possible counts you can on the table within reason, and then just eliminate them one by one and try to understand at what point they'll be invalidated, and at that invalidation point we can, take a position. So hopefully you've got some positions in stock. Looks like we'll be going higher, but this is the basic count here with wave 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here, and it was nice to confirm and see that turn come in, and we're seeing an impulse wave here, so that means that after 5 waves we'll get a correction, we'll get another 5 waves, and we'll need to talk about that too, because if on the bearish count that we can count this down here as 5 waves, then the market could pull back to the 50-60% area and then move down from that point, have 3 waves to the downside, so to speak. So we could look at it something like this here and fail. If that's roughly the 61.8% of supply there, it's going to have problems there anyway, and then it could come down at that point. So we need to be a little bit mindful of that. And sometimes the A wave, as I always mentioned, is the strongest when it comes down. It comes down quickly, or in reverse it'll go up quickly. So we just need to be a little bit mindful of that. But the stocks are telling me that we will be going higher. So that's good, but yet we still need to confirm things along the way. So based on all of this, let's just go in and check on a few things for the S&P. I won't go into too much detail here. We'll do that in the indices video. So if we just start from the outset and look from the top to the bottom here, we can see that our 61.8% is roughly around the 4,100 area there. And if this market was going to be bearish, then we would end up having some type of move like this, where it wouldn't find support on top of this level. Now, in terms of a bullish move, we would need to find support on this level with the classic trading levels pattern, and there will be, 1 is the strongest number, and this is where the supply is as well. I mean, technically, if we took out the top of the B wave there, then that would be a bullish market at that point, because there is a way to count that down as 5 waves here. So it's just something that we have to clear, but I don't think we have to clear it with the S&P or any of the indices. I think we're going to see it in some of the stocks, and especially the value stocks, the stocks that haven't pulled back down so much, like Berkshire, Hathaway and so on. But yeah, it's just shooting the breeze here, just talking about things. The other bearish count that we can eliminate, which is one good news, which is this one here, in looking at 5 waves down. So we've had this one here as the A wave, the B wave, and a C wave down here. But as a wave 4 here, this hasn't really produced an ABC pattern here. So and plus it's gone a little bit too high as well, but it's also giving us an impulse wave here. So we can eliminate this. So that's a good thing. That's one thing. There's one thing out of the way. That's good. So just drilling in here a little bit further into the 5K tick here. Look, I won't go into the intraday count on this, but we can pretty much be assured that very shortly we're going to see some profit taking coming in on these here before pushing up, because we do have an impulse wave here, and that means 5 waves here in the opposite direction of the trend will get us another 5 waves. Now, like I said, getting support on the 61.8% at the 4,100, that's going to be a positive move, and we can expect a scuffle, a battle to go on here, because that's where the supply is here, and there are takes everybody to make up a world, and there are the bears as well. So it'll be at this point, getting support here, that they will be on the squeeze at that point. So yeah, so that will be that. So we'll talk about this a bit more later, but just to put that into perspective. So with Apple here, with all the stocks, we were looking for a turn. So I feel like we did a pretty good job on all of that, and even though some of them we just didn't quite get them on an intraday basis, we still understood that we needed to be long, on the sign of strength in a lot of these markets. So yeah, and hopefully that you're long in your favorites stocks, and we'll continue to move higher. So it's really just about managing your exposure now. As I mentioned, in most cases we're looking for 5 waves to the upside here, so that means that we're going to have a pullback. So it can pull back 50-60%. Apple is also one of the stocks that helped us be bullish, because we just couldn't see 5 waves down in this particular first leg here. It was really quite corrective, but it's tricky getting the count right around large numbers, because the market or traders continue to get pulled to that large number. They place orders around that large number all the time, so it really pulls the intraday wave counts around there. So but anyway, we can see that 5 waves moving up through there, and we can pull back that 60% odd. So that's something that you'll need to take on board. Where are we? 5k ticks. I'll just check. I think we had this here. So yeah, this is the basic shell of it here. So we're looking for 5 waves up, and then a pullback. Now it may or may not pull all the way back to the 61.8%. Sometimes it can even go further down as well, depending on the sentiment or market news and all these sorts of things. So don't ever get fixed on a price point. It's always better to count the internal structure as you go, and that could be difficult as well. But sometimes you don't get all the answers, but sometimes you get enough answers to look at things. So yeah, you might notice the B wave over here, so you could go long on that, or you didn't quite get it here, you couldn't figure the 5th wave out here, and but you can see that it's strong at that point. So to get a small position that you can breathe properly and doesn't freak you out, well then you can build on that, and that's what we've done here. We didn't want to let's just go to the 100 ticks and get a closer view on this. So we talked about it in a few different ways here of moving in, and yeah, so it could probably be counted a bit differently, I guess, but the main point here is that with a trend, there's a beginning, there's a middle, the strong bit, and then there's the end. So we're somewhere up close to the end here. It's probably 1 and 2 here, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the top of the third. That was probably from the other day talking, so we can put that over there. We can also just configure this to set up as another position in here. So these are going to be these are going to be retested, these positions. So you might want to, it doesn't really matter what you do, long you can either take profit or you can take I'm just going to put the percentage here, because if you took off 30, 40, 50%, then you can use that to get back in over here if you're that way inclined. Just depends on how you want to do things at this point. But because the market can pull back quite deeply, that means you need to leave the stop out of the way down here somewhere. You don't want to be stopped out, okay? Especially if you've got positions here. The saving grace is that we have an impulse wave. So that means after a correction, we're going to get another move to the upside. So you need to work out, doesn't matter what you do in the market, there's no particular right way, because everybody's different, and it doesn't matter what you do as long as you know what you're doing, what your thing is. So don't worry about what others are doing, and it's just how you would like to do things, and you do things and you make mistakes, and you improve on those, and and then it's still not a perfect world even after you've learnt a lot. But yeah, I mean, if you can take some off here, if you're that way inclined, and get back in here anywhere over here, then you've picked up a few dollars, and that's all good. And the other side to this as well is that we really want to build bigger positions on top of through group one, really through 50 if we can, 51 if we can, 52, and then if we get support on 53, then we'll be going up to 55 at that point. But getting support on 53 is really important because it stops the market being pulled back to this number at that point. And yeah, so let's just see how that goes. So on this, I'm just going to go back to the 5K here for a moment. Let's just look at a few things. Let's just take this and this. That will leave us up here for, that's the pocket there for that 62% to 65%. And that means that if we pull back into, I mean, group 2 here will be the support. So we've got group 1 above, 1, 2, 3, and then group 2 below. So we've got 5 and then 8. So with 8 here we go 47.20, 2.5, and 146.50. So it should be in that support. It should be in that area there that we get that, you know. And then if we get this up here, then we should get this over to here for that. And to turn bullish, to make sure this doesn't get any bigger, we need to take, you know, it'll be at this point, taking this B wave out, that we can confirm that we're bullish at that point. That would be the thing at that point, because we could just go to here and here and here and fail at that point. I don't think that's the case, but I do need to point it out. Do you know what I mean? In terms of loading up through here for this. We'll find out from some other stocks like Berkshire and Hathaway if they've taken out their tops here, and we'll have a look at the industrials. And in fact, we can just do that now actually. So the industrials here, a little bit messy, but these being one of the leading, this reminds me of the European markets really. So yeah, we were looking at, you know, taking these tops out here. There's such a good support, not such a nice pattern that's wingled its way from being, you know, resistance to support over here, and then taking out these highs here. So this is going to give us another little 5 waves up here, and so on, and looks like it will keep building from that point. So yeah, so these are the sorts of things we can look at, and we can say to ourselves, well, if that's going to do that, where's that? That's going to take out that top. Is that right? And, you know, we can start looking at things and thinking to ourselves, well, gee, that's going to be bullish at that point, isn't it? And why is that? And this and that. And then you're kind of left with these leading markets telling us that we are going to go higher, you know, because when you look at Microsoft and Google and all that, we're down here somewhere, you know. So it's hard to be, you know, you're kind of bearish at those points, you know. That's why we need to have a good look around at things. But anyway, that's the risk at that point for that. And Amazon's a bit like Microsoft and Google. It's come back quite deeply. We'd been looking for the A, the B, and the C, the turn close to the 90, the 61.8% roughly. And yeah, I mean, there's a bearish count for this, but we're just going to stay with the bullish today, and I'll just try to move through these a little bit quicker. So we were looking for the turn, and now we're looking for 5 waves up. So yeah, we can see that we're getting a little 5 waves here. We can see that it's not finished. Wave 3's got the extension in, so wave 1 and wave 5 will be roughly the same. So we're going to see some sort of corrective move within all of this here. Because we get 5 waves here, that means after correction we're going to get another 5 up. So we can also turn this green as well, and we'll look at that. We'll see how Monday goes, because normally if Friday's bullish, then Monday will follow through on that. But at the same time, we can see that, you know, we've got these structures that need to be corrected. Now, there's two things that can happen. We could pull back quite deeply, or we could have just such a small correction and then go up from that point, continue up. So this could go up to here and then, open higher and then trade lower and then move up again from that point. And then we've got to move these, over to here, so to speak, so it's a much smaller correction occurring, and then Monday afternoon, and Tuesday trip on again. So just got to be a little bit mindful about those sorts of things. And NVIDIA, so I'm not sure why I got both of these here for. Anyway, we don't need them now. So yeah, we had wave 1 here with the A wave and then the B wave, and then we're looking for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that all came in reasonably well. We're looking to go long here. So probably we've got the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4. I'm not really sure about this little one. I haven't really checked that. I don't know if we need to put wave 4 here for that. Possibly. I'll just have a bit of a look at it. But it kind of doesn't matter. In a way, what I can say is that we're going to have some sort of classic trading levels pattern coming in here. Now, we could pull all the way back to the 61.8%, but I think we should look at that, at least that consolidation there, to be reasonable, and then a move up from that point. But yeah, it's doing everything that we expected it to do. So it's interesting because we've got 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. And then 1 and 2. This should really take off now. It will stall at this point here. So if you're long in this market, I'd tend to hold on to this one. We know that the government's behind it, and the pattern just looks good. So. Yeah, I mean, to get a few positions below the 250, because that's the main number. But the other point too is that this has got support on the 200 here. So we're looking at 300 here. That's the point now. So we're looking up there. That's why it's worth holding on to this. Okay, anyway, with all of these, I haven't put stops in. I should do that, but just keep them well out of the way, okay? That's the main thing. And if you can't do that, if it's too much money, if that's more than 1 or 2% of your capital in there, well, then you have to reduce your position size. You can't be so greedy, that's it. You know what happens to greedy calls? You might get lucky, but eventually they catch up with you. You need to look at it as karma, really, I guess. You need to be calmer about it. So what have we got here? Okay, so from the top to the bottom, we got the 61.8% here. This is some of these markets were a little bit ahead of the other ones who already had sort of 5 waves up, and so I remember looking at this in 2 different ways, but. So yeah, that could push up a little bit further. I'm not quite sure about that, but in one way we need. Then they could push even further up here. But I wouldn't be surprised if it hits this supply here somewhere, and then it's hitting supply now. So all of this here will come in over here, and it will push this back. So we should be able to pick it up back again at the 80 here. So these positions here that you've got, you just need to hold on to them. You need to, I mean, you can take some money off the table here and put it back over here, like we talked about before with one of the markets, Apple or something. But the stop needs to stay out of the way, okay? And because the idea of this particular trade here is that we get a few positions below the level of this here, and then we start building above it. Now, normally you get the arrival, the reaction, and then the first high above the level, we'd look for 5 waves above here into the group 1 area here, and then we would have an ABC pattern here coming down here, and then we'd go up again. I don't know if it's going to play out like that because of where we are in the markets. I think it's going to be something sort of a bit different. I don't think it's going to come down this far. It'll be somewhere, something mucking around up here and then keep going up, So we're doing all the right things, so we'll just build in here. We don't have to do it too heavily. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll see where the rest of the market is as well. So we still need to prove a bullish structure coming in the bigger picture, another few degrees higher. Netflix, we're still looking for the wave 4 to the downside. It never came. It just stayed there. It's possible that we're bullish. I think we talked about being long above some top here or something, and that's still there, but we're still one move lower, I think, unless I call that wave 3, 4 here, but then I'm going to overlap that, and I have to look at that as 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5. Yeah, could even have 2 more moves down here, you know. I think when the other markets do their ABC pattern, this will do something like this, but that's quite big anyway compared. It only needs to do this. There should be 2 more lows. I'm not that happy about putting this here, really. This one should go up there, but then it's too big to go up there. So I think that's right. it's just a couple of things here that are not quite right. Anyway, not quite ready, this one, so that's okay. I'll just move that. It'll probably finish off a little bit weird here. It'll probably just do something like this, even if this, depending when the other markets do their ABCs, which is going to be shortly. Unless I've got it totally wrong, and this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the upside, and then come down for a B wave or something. But I think we should look for one more low here. Okay, so what's next? Enphase. Right, so as I've been saying, I don't know the count on this. We decided to go long above this top here. Now, I don't know what the bigger picture here means. I mean, if the other markets are bullish, then we should be bullish. But I know with lithium stocks that we need to be coming down a bit further. So not all of them, but some of the bigger ones and all the little ones and stuff. So yeah, I really don't know the count on this. I'm sorry. Yeah, it just it's not gelling with me at the moment. And when I go to count it in one particular way, I can see a problem with it, and then I go to count it another way, and I can see a problem with that. So we just had to put our trader's hat on. So the thing is that we could look at this here as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2 here. So we'll just label this, and we you know, if we stay with the intraday structure, so to speak, we may get away. We may get lucky. So there might be 1, 2, 3 there. We may even be in wave 4 now, actually. And one more little move to the upside. Then we should get some sort of ABC pattern with the other guys. So I think this is 1 and 2 and 3 here, and some sort of 4 and 5 here, then the ABC pattern here with the A, the B, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So I think that, you know, we talked about this being sort of a wave 1 here, so we can put that in there. I mean, obviously it's not going to be a wave C or 4, so we can just move this out of the way. What we could do is we could how can we do this? The only other way I could do it is here. It doesn't, wave 4 doesn't overlap wave 1, and if it did a little bit, I wouldn't be bothered with it too much. I'm going to put wave A here. We need to be a little bit concerned about this one. We'll just see how it goes, okay? Where to put the stop? Well, if that's 5 waves, we need to put the stop under it. But I don't like putting a stop above a large number like this. I'd rather be under it. But we don't want to risk too much either on this. I don't want this coming down to from this top here to this one. I mean, this box here, the 50-60% from the top to the bottom here, so that's the other thing here. Look, I mean, I'd rather put it under here, just depending on where your risk is with this. So let's I'll just put 2 stops here. You can make your mind up with that for the time being. Yeah, I mean, lithium stocks are telling me that we should get another low to come in, you know. Not that we have to do that here. I mean, this is a, you know, I mean, anyway, we've made our bed, we've got to lie in it. So, Tesla. So what we have to do here now is we have to look for the B wave down. We're looking down for the B to C. We're looking for another little low, but we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to have to label it like that. We're going to have to label this one up here as 1 and 2, and the third wave, the fourth wave, and the fifth wave. So we're going to put the fifth wave up here. We're going to look at this as the 1 and 2 pulling back here, and then we can look at that pushing to the upside at that point. Now it is true we've only got 3 waves up here. So it could be corrective and we could come down, but let's just go with the rest of the market, and we'll go for this is the A, the B, and the C. And yeah, let's get a better view on that. So I think we looked at it here. So it hasn't, wave 4 hasn't overlapped, so we have to look at it like that. And that's that, really. So we'll look for wave 5, and then there'll be some sort of ABC pattern that can pull back to the 50-60% and then up again. That will leave the long trade over here. Of course, if we get 5 waves here, that means we can buy back in over here as well. So let's just go to the 100 ticks. So yeah, that's it there. Let's just straighten that up a little bit. Let's just take that low, put that one there, I think there could be one more low there maybe, that would take that to there. So let's bring that down a bit. I've probably drawn this a bit too big. Now that we've got that rough top there, there's other ways to do that, of course, but so we can just bring this up into here. It's probably, you know, depending on where this low goes here, it was probably good to bring this up a little bit, you know. We've got a very clear 1, 2, then 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, fourth wave, and fifth wave. So if we do get that 5 waves up here, then buying back at 195 or anywhere in there, we'll just do our best with that in due course. Normally the profit in the bullish weekly cycle, if Friday is strong, then Monday will follow through on that. Tuesday we'll see profit taking. And then Tuesday afternoon we see the trend resume. So we should see, you know, I think I've drawn this too big here. That's one of my issues here, but you get the general gist of it anyway. If you get this fifth wave up here, then you can buy back in the box here, anywhere in here, and then also look to build in over here, because we'll be building in through all of group 1 here. 10, 20, and 30, but we want to be building in, we want to get a few more orders in here possibly, you know. I mean, getting 2 small positions below the level is what we should be doing, and I would have done that, woulda, coulda, shoulda, but I didn't get the count quite right because of that investor weekend, the investor seminar. If it had traded down rather than dropped down, maybe I took it as the third wave. That was my problem. Okay, so alphabet. So we've been looking for an ABC pattern here as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for an A and a B and a C wave here. And once again, we're looking for that 5 waves to the upside. So this is one of the stocks that, you know, that hasn't really risen that much. But at the same time, I'm more inclined to bring it in with the rest of the market, and it'll catch up in due course, you know. But I see, you know, I've sort of overcome my sort of fear of it being bearish. But I mean, but yeah, I understand that it's, you know, I understand the situation with it. But if we get our first little 5 waves here, then we can take it from that point. So I'm just going to go straight to 100 ticks here, and let's just clean some of this up. So I was thinking of it like this in terms of 1 and 2 here. We talked about being long in a few places. Looks like the nice 3rd wave here, so we didn't do too badly. I'm a little bit unsure about this here, how this is going to sort of end here. We'll just sort of watch it. We don't need to add to it anymore. Once we get that wave 1 in here, we'll be looking for wave 2, and then we can look to build in that wave 2. So in the meantime, just keep the stop down, you know, below wave 2 here somewhere. Just leave it out of the way for the time being. Let's see if we get these 5 waves first, and then we'll work it from that point. And that will be the same with this market as well. Microsoft, this is the low, the bigger picture here. So we're looking for the ABC pattern. It's coming back and testing this level. I mean, I can see the bearish side of it. It looks very bearish, but at the same time, we'll just need to continue to work through it as we have been doing. So let's just put this on 100 ticks. We talked about moving into it through group 1 here, so that's all played out quite nicely. So the thing here is I don't think the 5th wave is going to be very big because wave 1 was quite short. Okay, so I don't know if you want to take some money off the table at this point as well for when this comes back down, you know, this type of thing that we talked about with Apple, because we're a little bit top heavy here. Wouldn't be such a bad idea. It could be the wrong move that I'm telling you here as well. It could just continue to move up strongly. Got a lot of catching up to do, those sorts of things. It can come back down to this level, the 250. Will it come back down to this? I don't know. It's all the corrections are being pretty tight so far up here. So I would sort of imagine, if I could draw this out a little bit, I think it will just be something like this. But if we get that ABC, then we can look to build long over here as well. Okay. And Berkshire Hathaway. So I was hoping that this particular market would help confirm a bullish move. And all it needs to do as a bullish move is really just take the top of the B wave out here. Because if it moves up here and takes the B wave out here, right, then it forces this to be the A, the B, and the C correction here. And if this is corrective in 3 waves, it still means that, like, technically it could be, we label it an ABC. It doesn't mean that it's an ABC until this top is taken. These tops are taken out here. If these tops are taken out here, it still could be we've got an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave down here. That's possible. But the thing is, the takeaway is that this is corrective. That means that this will be corrective. That means we're in a bullish market. So even though we do come down further, it doesn't really matter because we know that we're in a bullish market at that point. I don't think that's the case, but it's just interesting and good to know that stocks like this can help us confirm a more bullish market and diminish the bearish side of it all. So it needs to take out the top here. The current count for this on the 100 ticks would be down here. So we've got the A wave here, then an A, and then a B wave, and then a C wave here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 here. Now, wave 4 does overlap wave 1 a little bit. This move down, this move up here. This is kind of what would you do here, because this is 3 waves up here. So we could put wave 4 here, but of course we could put wave 4 here as well. But then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here. But then this one makes a new low over this one. So it'd be natural to here to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. I mean, that's how I view things. But obviously wave 2 has overlapped wave 1 here. Somebody could say, well, Pete, you could have that as an ABC pattern coming down here, and I understand that as well. But this one wasn't in 3 waves, and this one here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So it's just interesting to note these little things, you know. But yeah, but no but. So we can look at these now as wave 1 and 2 here. The same story really. They can be a little bit different in all of these, but so we'll see a pullback within this in due course. So if you wanted to be in this market, then that will probably come in here. The 5th wave won't be much. Be good just to take that top out over here, as I mentioned. That's what that's the main point. So having 5 waves here and having this pullback here and taking that top out, it's just such a nice little bundle, really. This little bundle of joy. Okay, so now block. So I've been a little bit unsure about this particular count as well, as you know. So I've just really been working on the intraday, but we've kind of kept with the theme of with the rest of the markets as wave 1 and wave 2 here. And then we counted 5 waves up here, and then we looked at an ABC pattern here and so on. Now, I think did that drop below there if I made a mistake here for that? Don't think it did. That's close. Either way. So what I've been waiting for here is this time around is to look for support on this level here. We don't have support on this level. It's going through the process, and there's going to be more wiggling and jiggling around in all of this. But what we're looking for here in a nutshell is the first high above the level. Once we got the first high above the level, that becomes our reference point, and then we'll try to improve on that. You may have a position in here. We maybe have talked about that with that line. I don't know, but yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, from here we've got 5 waves here. It can be an A and a B and a C wave up here. You know, I've noted this as being corrective here. So, you know, I mean, maybe things are just being warped and we need to look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here, and then an ABC over here, and then down for 5 waves, you know, then up. I don't know, but anyway, it'll all boil down to this particular pattern that unfolds across this number here, and then we'll look a bit like this here. We'll start from the top, and then we can start from the second high here. Now, it didn't pan out over here to get triggered, but it may do it over here. If it does, well, then we'll be triggered. If it doesn't, we won't, you know. It'll be as simple as that. So anyway, that's where we are. And, you know, a lot of this will come down to the earning figures coming out, you know, at 2 weeks after March or whenever it is. So the Bank of America. So this is another possible bearish pattern as well. We've been looking at it in a bullish light because of the rest of the markets. So it's, yeah, I mean, if you looked at it as face value, one would take it more as if you took it just by itself, you would take it more as a bearish market. And this down here, we'll see how quickly this moves up here, but we could just get an ABC up here and then dropping down again from that point. But we've been looking at it as a bullish move in line with the rest of the market. So oops, that's not the one I want. We want 10 ticks. And so been looking at this, counting up here as 5 waves, then 1, and it's a bit of a wobbly old count coming down. Didn't quite I didn't quite get the low. I thought there would be one more little low in here, so I didn't talk about going long here either. Anyway, what we'll do now is it looks like this will probably go higher up here. I mean, I can count 5 waves up here already, but I'm sure we'll have to extend it out. So I'm not going to do anything today with this, but we will look for the the ABC correction when it comes, and then we'll try to build in. Okay. But what we do need to watch here as well, on the bearish side, I don't think it is though, but it was a good case for it, but just not with the rest of the market. It would be like this. And if that's the case, then we're going to be short coming under this level here for that. That won't be an issue. So we'll have to manage any risk, any exposure we've got going up to the upside at that point. Alrighty, that's it for the stocks. So yeah, just to recap a little bit, if we look at the S&P here again for a moment, with the stocks, you've probably got a position or two in these markets being quite strong. So what you need to do now, if you're bought too close to the top here, then you might need to look at taking percentage off the top on these. If you don't have positions that are high up and you've got positions that are low here, then I suggest staying in the market and riding the correction out when it comes, and then we'll look to build in again at this, because to make money in the markets you have to take some heat. You can work it through by taking money off the table and putting it back in, but you don't always get that right. You get a bit particular about it and you miss things, and after you've got a bit more experience you don't worry about it so much. You know that it's more important to get the money in rather than to be right on the count. So there's a lot of subtleties that make things successful or not. But a takeaway with everything is, when you think about it, we've got 5 waves up, we're going to have a correction, and we're going to have another 5 up. Now how far that takes us is yet to be, is we don't know anything beyond that at this particular point, but we'll see how this leg here goes in terms of the speed of it. If it's a C wave, it's going to be lazy like this. I'm probably dramatizing it. If it's a wave 3, it's going to be the same length, if not same speed, if not faster. So yeah, you just got to stay in there. So all I can say is taking a little bit of money off the top and putting it back in over here, just to take some heat off yourself. But if your positions are low here and you've done all the right things, then I wouldn't worry about getting out too much. I'd be focused on I would spend my time studying about where I can get back in and refine that. Alrighty, I'll leave it at that. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.